Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lyds, and we're back for some more Thronebreaker, and last time we were finally able to afford one of the key upgrades to increase the recruit cap of our deck so that we were actually able to change our deck. It's no longer illegal, and we have actually made some upgrades, so that is huge. We are now, of course, officially broke, so we are working our way back up to the point where we can afford something else. There's definitely still a lot of fine-tuning to do after we've modified our deck, so it is by no means perfect, but, well, we don't really have the resources we need to make those improvements just yet. But looking at our map here, I think next on our agenda will be to, well, scavenge the area a little bit for those resources, because we could use all the scraps we can get here, and then probably heading over to either this battle, or if there happens to be other things over in this area. I don't remember if we went up here at all before. Obviously, we've been to that fast travel point, but I think we deliberately avoided going directly north of there because we thought that we were maybe getting a little too far ahead of ourselves if we did that, so maybe we head in that direction now. Let us see if there is anything here besides spooky ruins. And we have occasionally seen times where we haven't had anything showing up on our map until we get very close to where the encounter will ultimately take place. At the very least, a little bit more wood and a little bit more gold. And as I was saying, we need all the resources we can get here. Ooh, okay, there is a question mark there across that bridge. Let's just see if... Yes? Oh, what is this? Not your usual loot. I think we did get a little bit of gold and a little bit of wood, yes, but more importantly, translated from Elder speech, 12 divisions. The Lyrian Queen is currently passing through Molderwood. Uh-oh, they know. I think we know that they know, but we can figure out a little bit more about what they're trying to do to us here. Her regiment is not large, but we cannot afford to underestimate her. Do what you can to halt her advance and weaken her forces. We will strike when they are at their breaking point. Eldain. Okay, so that is the leader of this group of Scoia'tael. Anything else where there's some more sparkly stuffs? Doesn't seem like it. But yeah, I mean, joke's on them. The more of them we fight, the stronger we're going to get. So take that. Now the question of, do we opt to cross this bridge here, where there's a point of interest, or do we go for this battle instead? I think, I'm just looking at the way this maze-like forest winds around, I'm feeling like we may want to go to this battle first. I mean, strangely enough. So this is where we are expecting to run into Eldain. That is the biggest main quest mission. Then again, if we were to go to this point of interest and cross this bridge, we might just be able to completely skip him, which feels weird. Because unless there's something else blocking us later on, then we might just be able to proceed in this direction and completely ignore Eldain. Or perhaps more likely, up over here. So that feels odd. I feel like we should probably head back over in this direction. I think this battle is probably next on our list. And then, you know, if we do get through that, then we can start exploring further in this direction. Maybe we head back to this point of interest that we saw previously. And... Okay, it looks like, actually, these paths may not be connected unless that skinny little spot there is technically a pathway connecting these two spots, because, like, that little ledge there. I suppose if not, then that means theoretically we could waltz straight on across this bridge and head over directly to Eldain. I feel like we probably want to do as many of these other battles and points of interest and puzzles and what have you before we take on Eldain or whatever happens at this main quest spot here, because that's probably going to be pretty significant, and we want to be as strong as we can possibly be at that point. So even if it's technically not taking us in that direction, I think we still go for the battle in this direction over here. And was it right here, or is this the Eldain route? No, so this would be the Eldain route, looping around that way. But I'm thinking we go there. Let us see. Oh, hold on. Except maybe not. Another trap. 'Tis fortunate our scout spotted it. What now, your grace? Bridge the pitfall or go back. So we can pay 50 wood to get across here. Wood has not been as much of a bottleneck as gold in this area, for what it's worth. So, I mean, I would love if we could just go back briefly, because, yeah, we can revisit this spot later. It is not final, that decision that we just made, because is there another way around there? Oh, that's actually... Huh. Yeah, no, this is actually not the place where I intended to go. And I'm glad we did not spend that wood, because, no, we know how to get here. If we go around this way and under that bridge downtown, then this is the point of interest that we were previously looking at. And so presumably, if we are to complete that, we can continue down this way and see what, if anything, else is in this last little section here. So we just may not need to do anything about that at all. But as for the battle in question, okay, it's up here. This is where it is in that case. Didn't even see this little opening. So yeah, a little bit more resources. As I was saying, we could use any and all resources we can possibly get here. So I believe it is quite close. Yeah, okay, so it's right up here. Like, right there. I mean, if there happens to be additional stuffs, theoretically, we are able to afford some units here. Possibly even 2 of those regiment drummers, so I think we try doing this battle as things currently stand. I saw that. And heard that. I am kind of curious what happens if we go straight for that guy. I mean, presumably that's part of the ambush team that is going to try to take us out if we approach that battle spot, but I wonder if we can trigger it if we just walk up to where they're hiding as well, or if we can spoil their plans if we do that instead. But, alright, let's give it a shot. Hello there? Is that anything? No? Kind of gold, but apparently not? No, okay. So, we'll do the battle, and we'll see with our current deck if it works. As we've said before, it is far from perfect at this stage, but we have some resources to make some adjustments if we feel that is necessary. So, here goes nothing. It's a battle. It's the impasse. Elven warriors burst from the forest, a menacing cry on their lips. Faces striped with war paint, eyes burning with hatred. Meve stood at the front and crossed weapons with one of these fierce partisans. They stood locked face to face, their breathing labored from great effort. Who would prevail in this staring contest? And whose life would be extinguished in the shade of these ancient trees? It's a shortened battle, so just 1 round. Let's give it a shot here. Of course, we saw 2 of the previous battles that we did were quite similar in terms of our enemy's setup. And so, if that is still the case here, then of course we won our previous matchup, and so perhaps we're in good shape for this as well. We don't want to have Knickers in our hand. We also don't want to have Xavier in our hand unless we get Black Rayla. And if we do, then we can use Black Rayla to get Xavier. So, let's try switching out the Scytheman, because I'm not a huge fan of him. And we really want to get Rayla, and we want to get her soon, so that we can still have time to switch out Xavier in that case. I think at this point we have a Slinger. I do like them. The Cavalry are somewhat questionable, because they do need to stay on the board to deal out their damage. If they get destroyed, then they can't do any damage with that mark anymore. But I'm also skeptical of the Infiltrators, especially if we're going to be going with a double Strays Bomber setup. Okay, it's another Slinger. So I think that means we switch one of these Cavalry, and then if it's Rayla, great, we'll get rid of Xavier. And if it is not, then we'll get rid of Xavier. Okay, it's a Stray Slinger, so yeah, let's get rid of Xavier. Okay. We'll make it work. Hopefully. Maybe. Possibly. Theoretically, I think it is a better hand than what we had in our previous encounter, in which we had both Reynard and Xavier without any cards for them to actually power up. So they start out with an Elven Archer, damage unit by 2. If it was already boosted, damage it by 6 instead. We didn't have any units out there, so that's great. Except, now that's an order with a cooldown, so they will be able to do that again on their next turn. I think, in that case, we just want to get these rows set on fire as quickly as possible. Maximize the damage from that. And we can also go with a leader ability here. Okay, so that one's almost taken out already. And that is more the same. And that one's just already gone. That's great. Let's set the other row on fire now. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Hold on. Edit undo, please. For what it's worth, you can right-click to undo something. In case you're wondering how I just did that. That is a thing. Impenetrable fog. Damage the highest unit on a row by 2. Fortunately, we don't really care too much about these guys. We can, of course, transform a damage unit into a 22 power bear, but as we saw last time, we very much would like to save this for at or near the end of the round. That way, we can have few cards, if any cards, for our opponent to target with their damage, and then at the very end we go, haha, we were just waiting to do this, and now you don't have any time to do anything about it. So they have an Elven Archer here, but other than that, there aren't many targets for the Slinger, so I think we go with a Cavalry in that case. And we're going to deliberately avoid playing things in the row that has the fog on it. Ooh, duel the lowest unit. That means they will trade off taking damage. The sentry will attack first, notably. So, as things currently stand, the lowest unit would mean the bomber, and it would just completely destroy the bomber. And that's not a huge deal, because we don't care much about the bomber. But it does actually matter the order of operations here. Because if they go Elven Archer to remove the Stray's bomber, that would be the ideal order of operations for them. That way, suddenly the Elven Sentry is dueling the Stray's Cavalry, and that's better for them. We could, however, I think we're probably looking to go with another Stray's Cavalry here and mark the Elven Sentry. Because the earlier we get those guys out, the better. Okay, fortunately, okay, the order of operations was correct there. They did get rid of our weakest unit. That means that now they will duel one of our stronger units. Okay. So he is marked, but that was the mark from the cavalry that he destroyed. So this guy will still deal damage with this mark, but you are not actually getting damage from that, and that is bad, because you have a cooldown on that ability. You will be able to duel again eventually. We could dish out some damage with the slingers, yes. However, I think we would prefer to use that as a finishing blow to take you out on our next turn. So we have a little bit of time before you're going to duel again. So I think we might even re-mark you. I think we have to, if we actually want that mark to deal damage to you. Because again, although he was marked, when we lose the unit that has done that mark, namely you, then we don't get any damage from it. Alright, now you're only on 3 power, which means if we move you, we can almost take you out. If you do take damage from the fire, then that does mean that'll be enough to destroy you. That'd be great. Especially if we can do that before the armor starts to become a factor. Oh, hold on. We do have a leader ability, though. Which, technically speaking, in terms of maximizing the damage directly from the leader ability, the best way to go would be to attack both these 9 power units. You're just a point slam card. You don't actually have any abilities, so there's not a high urgency to get rid of you. It would be nice to get rid of you, though. I think we do take a little bit of a risk here. We'll go leader ability on a 9 to maximize the damage from that. And then we'll go with the Stray Slinger. And one of the targets will be you. So, let's see. Also, want to get rid of you as quickly as possible. You guys don't have any abilities, so that's not a huge problem. So we just really want this fire to proc to take you out. I mean, I suppose a 1 damage duel is not a huge deal, because we'll actually win that duel. But still, we'd love to just get rid of you altogether, and we did. Okay, so that's fantastic. And that, from what we saw previously, is usually a card that will damage the next unit that we play and bring it down to the same amount of power of this card, which I think It's either a 3 or a 4. So that means we want to play a weak unit next so that it doesn't get damaged all that much. And, I mean, we don't have any option here. It's going to be a Stray Slinger no matter what. But that's not a very strong unit in terms of power, base power, so shouldn't be much of a problem. So let's do it. We'll move the people who, well, I mean, you're going to get destroyed by the mark, and we'd like to get rid of you before you start applying more armor, so I guess we'll go with that. Could have tried going with the Elven War Dancer. Oh, but actually, no, we don't want to damage you, otherwise that ambush ability will be stronger. Because, yeah, in this case, it dealt 1 damage, which is no problem. Okay, deploy and spawn, play Fire Trap. Forget how this works. 2 turns, turn start damage, all units on the opposite row by 4. That's not good. What was that, their leader ability they used to deal a bunch of damage? Destroy the lowest enemy and damage all units on a row by its power. Wow. Okay. So now we have almost no units for this Fire Trap to hit. So it's not a huge deal. We do need to be careful, though, because does this have a cooldown? No, I think they can only do that once, and they just did it. But we do need to make sure that we actually have a target for Marjoram, and we need a target for Becker's Dark Mirror. So there isn't a great target for Becker's Dark Mirror on their side, since they don't have any super highly boosted cards. I think we may use the Stray Slinger to get rid of Fire Trap, just to guarantee it goes away. War Dancer, just because it's big, or maybe Spoiltail Bomber, just because it's big, and this Fried Brigade, and then we'll see if we can leave you as the target for Becker's Dark Mirror, so we have something to hit with that, and they shouldn't be able to take out both of our units on this turn, I don't think, so hopefully we still have a target for both Martyrim and Becker's Dark Mirror, otherwise we're in serious trouble, because these are, of course, our big finishers that we very much need to hit. So let's get rid of you. If we're saying you guys. Okay. So we just really don't want them to have that much damage here. It's an Elven Mercenary. Well, we have a ton of damage there. So this after 2 turns, turn start, damage adjacent units by 6. Fortunately, there isn't a unit on that side of you. There is one on this side. Damage it by 6 if any were destroyed, move to the other side of the battlefield. Okay, so this is, I think, a good time. Oh, but you're not damaged, so we can't transform you. That stinks. So you are going to go over to that side. And that means you're going to get destroyed. You're going to go back over to that side. You're going to be a 7 when you do that, which would possibly make you the highest unit over there. So that would mean we'd want to hit you, maybe save the Becker's Dark Mirror for you, which would mean we'd be going Marjoram on this turn. Because we can't really, or I mean, I think that's the way to go, right? I think that's the way to go. Can't stop this from happening. Oh, we get Knickers out as well. Oh, but Knickers, no, don't go into that row. Don't do it, Knickers. Because the weather effect does not need to specifically target you to be able to deal damage to you. Okay, that is suddenly their biggest unit, so we actually don't love that got damage. And we already have the lead here, so I believe we've already won, but for good measure. Oh, we had the highest unit out there. But we also had the lowest unit out there, so we damaged ourselves and we boosted ourselves. Okay, bear that in mind. It does not say damage the highest opposing unit. It just says damage the highest unit. Should have read that more closely. So yes, it is possible to damage yourself. It is a good thing that we already had the lead, otherwise we would have perhaps just lost. But, whew, there we go. Still got the job done there. A little bit of a last-minute surprise. Just keeping you on your toes. Alright, so that means, importantly, did not need to make any changes to our deck in between matches there. We successfully finished that match, and in doing so, gained some gold, I believe some wood as well. And what do we have here? More gold, a little bit more wood, translated from Elder Speech. Who do we have who can translate from Elder Speech? I don't remember. We might have had, I feel like I have a vague memory of us having a conversation in which we said there was someone on our team who could do that, but I don't remember who it was. Maybe it's Meve. Alien, that can't be the way you pronounce that, right? Elaine, maybe? Elaine, my dear daughter, I beg you, please return home. Only death awaits you in the company of the Scoia'tael. Don't do this to me. Don't do this to your mother. Losing your brother in the pogrom was already too much to bear. In the name of all that is sacred, in the memory of our ancestors, leave the forest while you still can. Ogen. And, well, given what we see here, I am afraid I don't think things ended terribly well for that person. And I know you're there. We saw you before. I assumed that was people associated with this battle, but it's a battle that we just completed. Curious if we go around this way. I mean, I'm pretty sure we went there previously, but if we basically just go right up next to the forest on that side, do they try to jump out and attack us? Like, right there. I mean, it's also kind of, I'm pretty sure, a Romance language, and so like I can kind of figure out what some of the words they're trying to say are, but not exactly. I mean, obviously, they're saying something along the lines of there's a human coming over this way. All right, but this is the bridge that we just cleared out. As for what is on the other side, it notably does not connect to where Eldain was. I had previously thought that it did. And so I just assumed that this was the way to go. But apparently it is not. There's at least one point of interest here, if not more. So I think let's carry on here. Ooh. More creepy ruins. In the past, we've sometimes seen loot in and around these fountain/shrine areas. We've also seen some battles on occasion. But any and all loots are nice. That is another one of these traps. So I think, whenever possible, we'll try to go around it. Because this one certainly seems like that is doable. This may mean we have to go around this way and possibly go through another battle of some variety. But if it means saving some resources, then that may be worth doing. Because resources are quite limited, of course. Again. Or the Scoia'tael hanging out. But more resources. That works for me. There was definitely, yes, a point of interest over here. It looked like some kind of cave. Possibly even hideout. This looks like a bunch of wood. 22 at least, but as you're saying, the crowns are the thing we really need. This is the other side of where that pitfall trap was. Anything else over here? So, there you have it. I mean, pretty easy way to save the 50 wood. Not even like we needed to do any additional battles to do it, but of course, there is this, whatever this is, that I assume we are probably going to want to do. I still don't think we have quite enough resources to make any significant upgrades before we do whatever the heck this might be, so, I mean, there's some spears out there. I'm guessing this is some kind of Scoia'tael hideout. But only one way to find out.
Meve was discussing some matter with Gascon when a scout approached. His blood-streaked uniform revealed the matter to be urgent. So the Queen cut short her conversation and requested a report.
We were scouting, milady, and we found a cave entrance. Small scattering of elves guarding it. But we took them right out.
Gascon scratched his chin.
I'd wager
Did you, though?
10 Novigrad crowns there are more Scoia'tael squirreled away inside. We strike before they know we've snuffed out their guards. We might well catch them by surprise. But we must act quickly.
I think Gascon's probably right. I highly doubt that was all of them. Also, was it an intentional pun? The Scoia'tael have squirreled away inside? I don't know. I feel like that was deliberate. Very clever, Gascon. I see what you did there. Alright, oh, and we have the choice. We have the choice. We can either attack now or we can ignore the cave. I think we go for it, right?
Then let us act. Gather some men and prepare them for an attack. but keep quiet.
The Lyrians crept into the cave. They moved carefully, noiselessly even, avoiding notice for quite a while. Nevertheless, elven warriors soon came pouring out of a side cavern.
Yeah, I mean, this is Scoia'tael we're talking about, right? They are kind of good at the whole sneaking around thing, and I have to imagine that even if we were trying our darndest to be as sneaky and stealthy and quiet as possible, they were still going to figure us out. But it's an opportunity. So let's see what we have here. I think this one could be very difficult. That's my guess. It's a standard battle, so 3 rounds in that case. Scoia'tael warriors typically employ stratagems of cunning, such as weaving their paths to lead pursuers astray. Yet not this time. The partisans hit Meve's force with all they could muster, as though striving at all costs to force her from the cave. Seems like this might be an important cave that we've discovered here. The elves' new tactic worked against them, however. Their fierce resistance only further aroused Meve's curiosity, compelling her to discover what they had hidden in those mysterious caverns. Oh, sounds like there may be something big in here. So let's check it out. And music feels unique. Is this? I'm not sure we've heard this before. It's intense. Okay, so we have Gascon. That means we'd love to have a bunch of Stray Slingers if possible. The Stray's Infiltrators can also work with him, although we've had a little bit mixed success with them in the past against Scoia'tael at least, because at least when combining them with our bombers that set the rows on fire, that has at times caused us to damage, if not destroy, either the Stray's Infiltrator directly or the unit next to it that is going to determine how much it gets boosted by. So we don't have any of those bombers at the moment, but we also have Reynard, which is a bit of a risk. I think we still probably do get rid of Reynard and look instead for, well, he's still 10 power, which is the equivalent of a Stray's cavalry that survives for 5 turns, which is almost never something that happens, so I suppose you're still better than this. Knickers we don't want to have in our hand. Not really looking for a side thing either. Rayla! Finally! You're here! Okay, fantastic. That means we can get rid of Reynard, assuming, I mean, this is the first time we've actually had Rayla in our hand, so we don't know for certain, but I think that if we play Rayla and use her order ability, then we get to choose possibly whatever card we want to play from our deck, in which case we can choose Reynard and or Xavier to get her order ability back, and then rinse repeat by bringing in whichever other one is still remaining in our deck. So I think we get rid of you, and then probably get rid of you too. And then I think we stick with this just because I am not sure that we're going to get any more redraws for in between round 1 and 2. Okay, let's see. Their their leader ability is to play 1 unit from your graveyard at half its power, and cooldown 2, they can do it very regularly. Okay, so bear that in mind. Destroying their cards may not work that well. And that, also, consider that, sure, that's one thing in round 1, when only, or one of the only ways they'll get cards in their graveyard is if we destroy them with damage, but in round 2 or round 3, then that means that they're going to get cards in there at the end of round 1, at the end of round 2, no matter what, and that's going to give them an easy way to at least have something to play from their graveyard, so okay, that's good to know. In terms of what we want to lead off with here, we actually, don't have a great option for what to play first here, because Stray's Slinger needs targets, Stray's Cavalry needs a target, Stray's Infiltrator needs a target. Certainly these two do. Rayla, technically we can play first, and then we can immediately on our next turn start using her order ability. Gascon we can also play, it's just those are 2 really big cards, one that I'd rather not commit to right off the bat, but let's do it. We'll go with Rayla. Does it matter what row you're in? It doesn't look like it does.
I'll fight to my last breath.
Okay, so we get Knickers out from our deck because Rayla is a gold card. So that's good, especially because Knickers has permanent resilience.
Oh my.
Heal an ally. Okay. We do not currently have any allies to
This is
heal except...
Elven land,
Oh,
dwarf,
what? You...
upon which your kind dies.
I did not even realize they started with units in their graveyard. I was going to say they don't have anything to heal, but no, they started with cards in their graveyard. I didn't even notice. And then they immediately used a leader ability to get that card back and, well, heal it. Now remember, though, that Rayla gets boosted by 2, or strengthened, technically, so her base power increases by 2 whenever we destroy a Scoia'tael card, so it's probably still a good thing for us to do that, especially because now that we have determined that they do have units in their graveyard, it's not like we're going to be able to prevent them from doing that, playing those cards with their leader ability. So I think we use Rayla here, and if we have the choice of going with any card at all from our deck, top priority is Xavier, and then we can use Xavier to give Rayla her ability back, and then rinse repeat until we finish with using Reynard, and then Reynard can get both Rayla and Xavier their abilities back, and then that's just ridiculously powerful because we can play a bazillion cards. So let's see. Yes, it looks like we can. There's Reynard. There's Xavier. So let's go Xavier first. Do you need to be in a specific row? You do not.
My pain serves a purpose.
Okay. Pacha. And can we just do both immediately? I suppose we can. I mean, we could just go absolutely crazy here and just immediately use all of Rayla's charges. Let's see, that would be what? We'd only have taken 2 turns, which is crazy to play as many cards as we're about to play in just 2 turns. But it might mean we can do that, take 1 more turn, and then pass early in round 1 with hopefully a big lead. And that way we can potentially either get an easy round 1 win or have a whole bunch of card advantage going into rounds 2 and or 3. So it might be worth considering that. If we are to do that, that means we'll be able to bring in Reynard. That is one thing we will definitely do. The other question would be, we will have the ability to use one other card. We might actually go for a Scytheman because we do have a leader ability charge here. So I think that might be worth doing. Let's go Rayla into Scytheman. Play you. Then use Xavier. Give Rayla charge back. Then use Rayla, this time, to get Reynard. Then on his deploy...
Her Majesty is exceptional.
We get even more cards we can get out here, so I think once again we go for the Scytheman. And we're just gonna try to get as many points out of our leader ability as we possibly can here. And we can do it again. Especially since we usually are not the biggest fan of using the Scytheman. But on this occasion, looks pretty sweet to me. I think we'll go after the Hawker Healer, because it actually has an ability, whereas that doesn't. So that's why we love that. We get 15 points worth of boost from all that, and suddenly we have a huge lead after having... I mean, we did technically take 1 more turn than our opponent. But we also haven't played a card yet on this turn. Those are all order abilities. Wow. Okay. Okay, then. Sure. What would we like? Maybe we play Stray's Cavalry, and it's not going to have a lot of time to do its thing. However, what that does is that means that we play it and we pass quickly. I mean, we'll probably take 1 more turn. That way we'll still drop to 10 cards going into round 2. But even if we pass early and our opponent continues to try to play, then we will still be dealing some damage even after we pass using this Stray's Cavalry. So I do like it in that sense. Okay, duel the lowest enemy, which...
Must be something of value to them here.
Well, Rayla is carrying the team right now. So I think... I mean, we could even go with an Infiltrator next to the Vryad Brigade. And that will eventually get boosted. Again, even after we pass, this will come back around to our side. So I do kind of like that way of generating some passive points, if you will. The potential concern I have is about this Elven Sentry dueling. At the moment, it would be either the Stray's Cavalry, which would get rid of it, or Knickers, which would get rid of it. Stray's Cavalry would be kind of bad because it would get rid of our repeated damage on the Hawker Healer. Knickers would probably be worse because Knickers has resilience. So he is 3 points going into round 2 and round 3, and we'd love to keep that. So finding a way to... I mean, Becker's Dark Mirror could potentially boost either Stray's Cavalry or Knickers, but we don't know which one it's going to be because they're tied for the... Oh no, you're the lowest unit. No, don't do that. Also, we are tied for the highest unit, so yeah, definitely don't do that. Definitely don't do that. Lowest enemy. Yeah, so it's not like if we play the Stray's Infiltrator on their side, they're gonna just magically start dueling that guy. Is there anything else we can do to make it so that Knickers lives? I think best we can do is a 50-50 chance. So I think we do this. Just make sure we put it in the right side. So boost by the power of the unit to the right. So yeah, put you here.
You got a job to do.
One of these guys is going down to that Elven Sentry. I hope Knickers lives, but we're gonna find out. Okay, he does. That's definitely preferable, I think. Reinforcements. Choose an ally, play all copies of it from your deck. It's the healer. Oh, they have a lot.
To help one or the other.
They have a whole lot. See, the thing is... Oh my goodness. What in the world? They have a whole lot of healing now. So the thing was, I was hoping that we would still have a pretty huge lead here, and that we would use that huge lead to pass early in round 1, and in doing so, guarantee that we have card advantage for much of the rest of the game. However, then they did an even bigger play than what we did. That was impressive, and now they have a lead. However, notably, I think they actually played some of those healers directly from their hand on the same turn, because they're down to just 4 cards in their hand, whereas we have 7. So even if they win this round, we still have card advantage for the rest of the game. And so that's an intriguing prospect. Or we could, I mean, technically speaking, if they were very smart, they would then dry pass in round 2. They draw 3 cards, they get up to 7 dry pass. In doing so would mean they'd get a... Well, wait, no. They'd have 7 cards for round 2. And then they would draw back up to 10 in round 3 if they had enough cards in their deck, but they would not. At best, they'd only have 8. Whereas we do have enough cards to draw all the way up. So, either way, yes, we are going to get card advantages. The question is, do we settle for taking the round 1 loss and rely on that card advantage to carry us in round 2 and round 3, or do we say, they're probably not going to try to play more cards when they're already 3 cards down on us, so maybe we push further? I mean, do we have a way now of getting enough points to pass them in one turn? I mean, we do have... The Infiltrator will come back soon, so that is a thing. They're going to lose 3 points there. We're going to gain 13, so that's a 16-point swing. That is almost enough. So it may be worth it. Especially if we do... We're going to have time for that Infiltrator to come back if we play you next to this Elven Sentry? That may be worth doing. We're going to encourage them a bit to play more cards. That's really close. They do pass. Okay. So unfortunately, though, pacing-wise, that wasn't the best option. We should have just played a 6-power unit. Would have actually been perfect. Anything here will do, because this Stray's Infiltrator... 2 turns on turn start, boost self by the power of the unit to the right. I think that means that it triggers on their turn, and they are technically not going to have another turn if we pass right now. So yeah, that's why. That was not the smartest of moves timing-wise. That was good timing for them on the pass. I was kind of hoping they wouldn't be smart enough to do that. But no, the computer did make a good move there. So in that case, I suppose we'll settle for one of our slingers, unless we don't have any damage units, actually, for the Martyr Room. That's a little concerning. We should have damage. But if we don't have a way to use this card in the future, then that's going to be a problem. Yeah, I think it's got to be straight slinger. It is going to turn into overkill, unfortunately. I got greedy. As I said, we needed to play one more turn for that card to come back, otherwise it would not quite have done it. But we did win round 1. And I believe we did still do so with 1 card advantage. With resilience as well. So here's the thing. They only have 1 card remaining in their deck right now, so that means even if we don't play any cards in round 2, they're going to need to play something. Otherwise, we win round 2 as well. We just win the match altogether. So they need to play at least 1 card to pass Knickers. And then going into round 3, we'll draw back up to, should be, I believe, 8 cards. Whereas they will not be at quite as many cards as us. And we'll have at least double last save, if not more than that. So we've 1 redraw remaining. And we can set a row on fire. I do like that. I think we get rid of a cavalry. Okay, and a slinger is good because that does power up Gascon further. So we're going to pass here. So they have 7 cards, we have 8. Oh, actually, that does mean we have 1 card to burn. Ooh. Yeah. It's a little tricky. So the thing is here, we could pass, and in doing so, we would draw 3 cards going into round 3, but we can only have a maximum of 10 cards in our hands, so that means we're wasting one of those cards we're drawing. So it would be better still if we played 1 more card here just to put up some points and make it a little bit harder for them to pass us. And that way we're still getting up to 10 cards in round 3, and they're still going to need to play 1 card at the very least to catch us, so they'll be at 9, we'll be at 10. They may need to play 2 cards to catch us, in which case they'll be at 8 cards in round 3, we'll be at 10. So the question is just, what do we actually play that benefits us here? I mean, Gascon would be the best point slam. In some ways, he is the best card here. It's just, he would be better still if we waited until round 3 for him. So I'm reluctant to go that route here. I think we're just looking for a bit of a throwaway. So that probably means the cavalry. I think so. It obviously doesn't have a target.
We'll catch 'em all!
But it's 10 points.
We ought to help one or the other.
Ooh, and that's not enough unless they use their leader ability, except it looks like they are going to use their leader ability.
Me. Duambe K-List.
Okay, that is enough for them. So that means, yes, they'll draw, or actually they can only draw 1 because they only have 1 card in their deck, like we were saying before. So yeah, they'll be at 7 cards in that case. We'll be at 10. So I think we just pass here. We'll give them the round 2 win, but we've set ourselves up for success in round 3. That's where the card advantage really comes in, and we still have Knickers hanging around, giving us an extra 5 points. So, let's see. So we're going to have, what is it, triple last say here? Meaning they're going to run out of cards, and then we're going to be able to play 3 more cards at the end that they're going to have no way of responding to. So with that in mind, what are we going to want those 3 cards to be? And then we can work backward from there. It's probably going to mean our 2... trinkets here and Gascon at the very end. Thinking that's probably the answer. We are also probably looking to set a row on fire at the very beginning. That's probably the play. Just go for the one that has units right now. And then a leader ability. I mean, we can just get rid of you altogether. That's probably what we'd prefer to do. So that way you don't heal stuff.
I shall not fail!
Okay. You will get boosted. Which is in some ways actually a good thing, because this becomes a good target for Becker's Dark Mirror. Remember, we can't have the highest unit on the board when we play this, otherwise it's going to backfire on us. So we want them to have the highest unit, we want us to have the lowest unit. So the timing does matter for that. We do need to be careful that we don't accidentally back ourselves into a corner like that. Let's go with the Strays Cavalry for now. We will mark you, which we need to be a little bit careful about because It will weaken you, but I'm hoping we have enough damage to outright destroy you. We want you to go away. Otherwise, you might be the lowest unit and we might accidentally boost you with Becker's Dark Mirror. Or you're going to heal it. Now we could get rid of you with a Slinger. Or we could get more of the cavalry out here. I mean, we do generally want to go cavalry as early as possible. That way, give as long as possible for the damage to do its thing. It's just not necessary.
Now we will see who is weak.
What? Knickers? This unit may raid your hand for yummy treats. So Knickers ate our Mardruim and did get considerably stronger in doing so. Went from a 5 to a 25. So that is saying something. That is an immune 25 unit. I mean, that would have been amazing if we got that in round 1 in some ways. But it does mean we lose a card in our hand. So we don't have quite as much to work with there. So we still have 3 more cards on our opponent. Did we draw a card as well after doing that? I don't know. I was a little bit surprised. I heard the sound effect and then thought I saw something disappear in our hand, then saw Knicker's number go up. So it was strange and unexpected. But there you have it. That is one of Knicker's abilities that we are seeing for the first time now. And I think we do have another Straight Slinger here. So with that in mind, why don't we make a point of playing you, and now we'll damage and get rid of, in this case, the Hawker Healer, just because we don't actually want you to have the chance to heal more stuffs. And we do want to make sure they still have the highest unit out here, so I mean, it's probably still going to be the case given all these neophytes they have. So I don't think that should be too much of a problem. Okay. Back to their leader ability, and it seems like it is always going to be one of the healers. Now, theoretically, I think it is possible that Knickers could be so bold as to eat another one of our cards. So, I mean, it seems like the amount that he got his power increased by was based on the unit that he ate, because we were going to gain a 22-point bear, except we were going to have to sacrifice one of our units in order to get that bear, and Knickers went up by 20, so that roughly matches up. I don't know if that's just purely a coincidence, in which case, wow. I mean, it's obviously like not exact numbers there, but it's roughly the same amount of value we would have gotten out of playing the card, so if that is the case, then there's that. But we do still have cards like Gascon that get more powerful the longer they're in our hand, so I would like for Gascon to not get eaten, that way he can still power up when we play these Stray Slingers. So speaking of which, I think we do that here. And once again, we want to make sure that we get rid of your low units so that they are not the smallest units on the board. Otherwise, Becker's Dark Mirror will boost those rather than our own units. We'd like to get rid of you. And then like to make sure that you still have the highest unit out there. Oh no, Knickers! Knickers is definitely going to be the highest unit. Ooh, okay, so that's not good. That's not good, actually. I forgot about that part. So yeah, one of these guys we're hoping will remain the top unit here. This one's obviously marked, whereas this one is not. This one is an engine, so can still get boosted, whereas this one cannot, so means these guys are both going to get damaged a bit. It might have been best to leave you as the highest one, but we'll see what happens here. They only have 2 cards remaining, most importantly. Lock an enemy units. Who did you lock? Oh, the bomber, who's already used its deploy ability. Yeah, we don't have anything with an actual order ability on the board right now, so that's fine. Okay, so yeah, the problem is going to be we're going to end up damaging Knickers, and at the moment we would boost the Stray's Cavalry, so it is a net 0-point play, in which case we might have as well just not play it. But we do also have our leader ability back. Again, we want to be careful. We may just end up not wanting to play Becker's Dark Mirror at all, in which case we just hope that our last few cards here are going to be enough to make the difference, and I think that may be true. So, you know maybe we don't worry too much about that. You do have 2 14s, so you know, we'll go for it. Once again, it doesn't work that well with Becker's Dark Mirror, but I suppose no matter what, we are likely to end up hitting Knickers anyway. So, with that, then let's move more people. And again, we can try to get the smaller ones and see if we can get rid of them altogether, but that is perhaps wishful thinking. Yeah, you know what? We'll just go with the ones that don't have armor. Maximize the damage, get the boosts on Gascon, and I think we are pretty much committed at this point to just not playing Becker's Dark Mirror, especially because that last card they played may not be enough here. Leader ability gives them some more points, but that is not sufficient. So yes, we have one. I mean, for good measure, we can rub it in their faces a little bit more. Technically, we do want to get these cards back into the flaming row. It did not even occur to me that we only had enough bombers to set 1 row on fire. Completely forgot about that. But, you know, we do that. We deal some more damage. We play Gascon. And we win by a sizable amount, and we don't even need to play Becker's Dark Mirror. Especially because it would not help us. So we won't give ourselves that handicap, but a 50-point win is a 50-point win. So that's a good sign.
When the Lyrians broke the Elven ranks, Meve was convinced their foe would retreat and regroup. But to her surprise, the Scoia'tael fought to the bitter end. She concluded there must have been something truly valuable hidden in that cave. As Meve entered the next chamber,
and it's actually going to be something that is not valuable at all.
Blood, pus, and urine. Then she understood. The elves were using the cave as a field hospital. Wounded fighters lay by the cavern walls. They made no attempt to defend themselves, nor to beg, nor to make peace with the gods. They merely watched the Lyrians calmly, with stark contempt.
Now we're going to have the choice of what to do with them. These people that are to say they're completely neutral is perhaps a stretch. You know, the way that the game is framing it is such that, you know, they're not begging to us, they're not pleading to us, they're not trying to pick a fight, they're not even praying to their gods. They're just standing there calmly staring at us. And except, I mean, they are people in a hospital. So, I mean, there's that. You know, you probably shouldn't attack people in the hospital. They are also our enemies, but so they are in the hospital in all likelihood because they tried to attack us previously. That being said, oh, okay, well, we get ointment. That is, I suppose, thematically fitting. I thought it was going to say, like, give us the choice. Do you take out these hospital patients because they're still your enemies, or do you spare them because they're hospital patients? I was going to say, I mean, I'm pretty sure that's a war crime.
Milady,
so,
we'll see.
Rayla.
you saw what the Scoia'tael are capable of. What they do to humans.
Yeah.
They would have no mercy for...
Reynard, usually calm, could not hold back and cut Rayla off.
What, pray, do you suggest? That we murder the wounded?
The warrior responded in a whisper, slowly emphasizing her words.
I suggest you leave. Leave me alone. We'll take care of the rest.
Okay, interesting. So Rayla's like, alright, this is the question. I'm fairly certain. It's just that Rayla is basically saying, I'll do the dirty work. You guys just turn and walk away, and you won't have to think twice about it. So yeah, it is letting Rayla kill the wounded elves, or refusing to let Rayla kill the wounded elves. This feels like if we still had Eik in our party, he did not like when we stole goods from the church. He would hate if we were to kill the wounded elves. I have to imagine that might also be a way that you could scare him off. But, I mean, obviously Eik is not currently here. I mean, I don't know. I think we still refuse to do it. I mean, on one hand, it's, you know, is this really us sparing the hospital patients by having someone else do it for us? No. Even if Rayla is volunteering to do so, it's still under our direction. So I still think we'd say no. We are not always a tyrant, okay?
Meve looked the warrior in the eyes and was terrified by what she saw.
No, Rayla. We shall not touch them.
Do you understand?
Rayla was quiet for a long moment. Finally, she nodded.
I swear if we
and
lose
left the
Rayla for
cave.
this, I'm going to be very upset.
Reynard followed her with his gaze, hand on hilt.
Reynard, listen to me. You are to keep a close watch on Rayla until we are at least a day's ride from this cave.
Oh dear.
If she separates from the column, if she tries to double back, I wish to hear about it. Do you understand?
Reynard nodded. Despite the day's victory, they left the cave in a somber mood.
Phew, I swear, if we lose Eek because we stole from the church, I think it was either accidental or some weird circumstances in which I feel like I didn't fully understand the implications of having done that at the time. Obviously didn't know we were going to get Eek and that he was going to leave if we had done that in the past, but I think even before Eek was part of the equation, didn't really realize what we were doing. And then this time, so if we lose Eek for that, and then if this occasion, if we lose Black Rayla because we chose to disagree with her, and we basically get the worst end of the bargain both times over, I'm not going to be pleased. But the way that was starting to go down, it certainly made it feel like that was a possibility. We'll have to see. It may happen because I believe when Eek did leave, it was not immediate. There was a little bit of a delay before he said, I'm off. So that does make me kind of nervous here, because we did kind of just make a whole bunch of changes to our deck that were almost entirely built around Black Rayla, who we have played precisely once in the entire time that we've had access to her card. So yeah, that's the thing. We did pick up Ointment, which will heal an ally and strengthen it by 10. Ooh. Okay. So it is an objectively better Fortitude tonic, because at the very least it is strengthening a card by 10, which is different than boosting. This is, well, a boost, whereas this is increasing the base power, which is sometimes preferable. Other times it's a distinction without a difference. And then the healing means that it would be potentially significantly better, depending on how much a unit is damaged. So I'm still not sure it's going to beat any of these. We have realized that Pecker's Dark Mirror is a little riskier than we had initially accounted for, but even with that being said, still think we probably keep it. And with that, let us just loot some of the remains here. See where that leaves us from a coin and wood standpoint. That was actually a sizable chunk right there. Wow. Okay. I think there might have been something that cost as little as 1,000 crowns. Not sure it was something we were super excited about, but fairly certain there was something at 1,500. I think that was the one that reduces the cost of units by 10%. The recruit cost of unit by 10%, which pretty nice. The dream one is the, once again, just increase the recruit cap by a whole, like, might even have been 50 points. That was very expensive, so we're not very close to that one, but we're making progress here, and I think this is a good place for us to stop now. Will that come back to haunt us that we just disagreed with Rayla? I certainly hope not, but I feel like it may be something that is now inevitable, but only time will tell. So, thank you all for watching, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you next time.